Picture this. You're in a crowded room full of strangers. Suddenly, the lights dim, casting ominous shadows across the faces around you. A single spotlight focuses on a man at the front. He raises his hand slowly, silencing the murmuring crowd. "We must defend ourselves," he says, his voice echoing in the sudden quiet. "Our very existence is at stake. We have no choice." As he speaks, images flash across a large screen behind him, a mix of blurry war footage, shaky cell phone videos, and menacing graphics. The crowd leans forward, captivated. Then the man steps back, gesturing grandly. "Together," he says, "we can win this fight." His words hang in the air as the screen behind him displays a bold message. Donate now. Now. Replace the word war with crisis, the man with a leader, and the images with manipulated statistics. What you've just imagined is not a scene from a Hollywood thriller. It's a powerful tactic used by governments around the world to manipulate public opinion, to shift blame, to fuel hatred, and most importantly, to rally support for their agendas. It's a tactic that both Israel and Iran have mastered, turning the Israel-Iran conflict into a battle not just of missiles, but of manipulation. As the conflict rages, each side is engaged in a complex game of perception management. But what makes this conflict different is the level of sophistication and the brazenness with which each side spins its narrative. The first shot comes from Iran, claiming that Israel was behind the assassination of Sayed Hassan Sayed, Qadea. The Israeli government dismissed it as absurd. However, CCTV footage shows a black motorcycle following Qadea before the attack. The image of the assailant is distorted, but one thing is clear: the killer was wearing a blue backpack resembling the logo of an Israeli spy agency. Iran wasted no time in broadcasting this video to its population and the world, creating a sense of urgency and outrage. Israel retaliated with Operation Rising Lion, a series of strikes against Iran's nuclear facilities, including the Natanz nuclear site and the Fordow underground nuclear facility. It was a carefully orchestrated move. Israel timed the attack to coincide with Iranian New Year celebrations, minimizing civilian casualties and sending a clear message to Tehran without provoking an immediate response. But the timing wasn't just about military strategy, it was about public perception. By hitting Iranian military targets during a festive holiday, Israel projected an image of precision and control, highlighting its superiority in military capability. However, Iran wasn't about to let this stand. In response, Iran carried out Operation True Promise, launching over 100 ballistic missiles and dozens of attack drones at various Israeli cities, including Tel Aviv, Netanya, Hadera, and Ashkelon. Immediately after the attack, Iran changed their profile picture to a map of Greater Israel, including territories occupied by Israel in 1967, implying historical claims over these areas. It was a bold move. By drawing attention to the Palestinian territories, Iran diverted focus from its own internal issues and created a sympathetic narrative, portraying itself as a champion of the Palestinian cause. But as the dust settled, the true extent of the damage became clear. Iranian missiles landed in open fields and on beaches, causing no significant damage. Many were intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome system, showcasing the effectiveness of Israel's defense mechanisms. Iran's plan to overwhelm Israel with a barrage of attacks had failed. But Iran didn't back down. The Iranian president vowed further retaliation, promising to turn Israel into a graveyard. It was a dramatic statement, but did it have any real weight? As we dig deeper, it becomes clear that the goal here is not necessarily physical destruction, but psychological. It's about instilling fear, portraying strength, and shaping international opinion. Israel has consistently emphasized the non-military aspects of this conflict. They talk about the missiles landing on beaches, rather than focusing on the attacks themselves. This helps build an image of controlled restraint. Meanwhile, Iran is focused on the number of missiles fired, making it seem like they are striking back hard and making sacrifices for their cause. However, both sides are missing a crucial piece of the puzzle, the human element. Each strike causes not just physical damage, but also emotional trauma. Images of destroyed homes and hospitals, stories of families torn apart and lives disrupted are not effectively utilized by either side. Instead, both Iran and Israel tend to highlight the military aspects of the conflict. portraying it as a fight between two powerful nations rather than a devastating human tragedy. Then there's the role of the international community. Both Iran and Israel have attempted to rally global support to their cause. Israel's approach is based on emphasizing shared values and strategic alliances. They focus on the democratic principles and human rights, trying to paint themselves as the underdog in this conflict. Iran, on the other hand, plays the victim, portraying itself as a peaceful nation under constant attack. They draw attention to the impact of the conflict on innocent civilians, attempting to garner sympathy and support on an emotional level. But as the world watches this conflict unfold, it's important to ask who really benefits from this battle of narratives. It's not just about military advantage or territorial gains. The true prize is something much more elusive, manipulating global perception. Whoever succeeds in shaping the world's view of this conflict holds significant leverage. And unfortunately, the tactics employed by both sides cross ethical boundaries. Let's take, for example, the use of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs. These flying machines have become a common sight in this conflict. But it's not just their military applications that are important. UAVs are also used to collect visual data to create an immersive experience for viewers around the world. It's almost like having a bird's-eye view of the conflict. But the scary part is this technology can be easily misused. Imagine releasing a drone carrying a small explosive device, capturing the horrifying aftermath, and then disseminating the footage to shape public perception. It's a terrifying thought, but not implausible. Another concerning trend is the use of AI-generated content. With artificial intelligence, it's possible to create realistic images and videos that depict events that never actually happened. Just think about the possibilities for mischief or manipulation. Potentially, an AI-generated video showing a horrific massacre could be released, causing widespread condemnation and outrage. And tracing the source of such misinformation would be incredibly difficult. Looking ahead, it's crucial to anticipate the next phase of this conflict. As Israel and Iran continue to escalate their attacks, the battle of narratives will intensify. The line between acceptable military action and unethical manipulation will become increasingly blurred. It's a slippery slope that neither side seems willing to avoid. So what should we expect next? One possibility is a false flag operation. This involves creating a deceptive scenario that mimics an attack by the opposing side. For example, staging an attack that looks like it came from Iran and then blaming it on Iran. The goal is to provoke a response or justify further aggressive actions. Another concerning tactic is the use of chemical weapons, whether through drone delivery or conventional means. The impact of such an attack would be devastating, and it would be incredibly difficult to attribute blame. The result could be a spiraling cycle of retaliation and counter-retaliation. The Israel-Iran conflict has already caused immense suffering. Innocent lives have been lost. Homes and businesses are destroyed and entire communities are displaced. It's a humanitarian crisis. But as the conflict drags on, the damage goes beyond the physical. It's seeping into the minds of millions. Sleepless nights, the loss of loved ones, and the trauma of living under constant threat are taking a heavy toll. What happens when an entire generation grows up defined by fear? How does it shape their outlook on life, their relationships, and their hopes for the future? These are the questions that haunt the people caught in this spiral of violence. This is not just a conflict. It's a test of resilience, a battle for normalcy in the face of adversity. It's a testament to the strength of the human spirit, but also a stark reminder of the cost of war. As we look towards the future, we must hope for a swift resolution to this conflict. Not just because of the immediate devastation, but for the long-term well-being of the people affected by it. The shadow of war is long, stretching far beyond the battlefield and into the realm of our minds. It's a reminder that healing and reconciliation are just as important as military victories. The true challenge lies not just in ending the conflict, but in rebuilding lives and fostering understanding. And as we grapple with these challenges, it's important to remember the human element of this conflict. It's easy to get lost in the complexities of geopolitics and the strategies of manipulation. But at the heart of this conflict are real people with real emotions, dreams, and fears. It's their stories that we must listen to, their voices that we must amplify, and their resilience that we must celebrate. Because in the face of adversity, it is their strength that gives us hope. So let's do more than just observe this conflict. Let's engage with it on a deeper level. Let's educate ourselves, challenge stereotypes, and advocate for peace. Let us use our voices to amplify the voices of those who suffer in silence and our knowledge to dismantle the walls of ignorance. Remember, understanding is the first step towards empathy, and empathy is the foundation of lasting peace. Thank you for watching. See you next time.